0 to 60 can define a performance car, but it's the fastest 60 to 0 that's the aim of Tarok's brakes. From road cars to race cars, circuits, special stages, or the autostrada, nothing reduces speed like Tarok's brakes. Italy gave the world the art of Da Vinci and Michelangelo. Tarok's has given drivers the art of stopping. For more information and to acquire your own masterpiece, visit tarox.co.uk. Yes, it's me, Mark Stone, and this is the Backseat Driver Podcast. It's the fastest, it's the friendliest, and it's for all the family. The Gas Shocks 116 Trophy and 120 Coupe Cup are the fastest growing race series in the UK, taking in 6 one-hour races and 8 sprints at all the top circuits. Visit 116trophy.com to find out more and get yourself behind the wheel. From a pot of tea to TT motorbikes. From a classic English breakfast to a full serving of classic cars. Bridge House Tea Rooms is the Northwest premier classic car meeting location for cars, bikes, tractors and owners clubs. So no matter what your automotive appetite might be, visit Bridge House Farm Tea Rooms on their Facebook page or call John and Alicia on 07980 444 221 for show details and to reserve your own table and parking space. I'd like to introduce to the Backseat Driver radio show one of Mexico's foremost co-drivers, and a guest who has the most spectacular name of anybody I have ever had the pleasure of interviewing. Good morning, Angelica Fuentes Garcia.
Good morning, Mark. Thank you very much for having me in your program.
Now, I've been looking into your background, and I know it's changed, as you said, but you got your driving license at 12 years old. You drove in your first rally at 13 years old. You drove in 14-year-old, and you finished first in your championship at 15 years old. It's safe to say you've been interested in motorsport from a very early age. How did all this come about?
Absolutely. Well, it's in the family, and I was so lucky. Dad was a very famous driver in Mexico. At some point, he was one of the official drivers for the Rambler team in Mexico. And he won rallies, and he won track days and, famous races that were organized in Mexico. So the passion started, from my grandfather. Actually, it's my grandfather, because he was one of the founders of the first motor club in Mexico, the Roda. And then he did a couple of hill climbs. But then my dad went into motor racing very young, and that my grandfather sponsored him, and then the factory look at my dad, that he was a good driver, and then sponsor my dad and invite him to be part of the team. So, and then until he had a massive accident and was unconscious for a week, and then my grandfather decided, you're my only child, and that's it. No more motor racing. He got married with Mom, had 4 children, one of them me, and then one day he turned around to my mom and said, I'm going back motor racing. And that was the start of the story, the second part of the story of my dad motor racing. And then I think, because we live and smell petrol every weekend, I just took on the passion. Yeah.
And I mean, it's one of the things and it's now becoming more and more prevalent, the more and more women in motorsport. But it's like I said, you passed your driving license at 12 years old. I conclude back then the laws in Mexico were a little different on when you were able to take your driving test.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember Dad needed to sign a release when I got my proper driving license. And in those days, if your parents signed the release, you were okay to have a driving license. So that's what happened, because before you go motor racing, you needed the equivalent to the motorsport, the NSA driving license in this country. I needed a FMAD driving license in Mexico. But to have that, I needed to have my driving license. So yeah, those were the days. Obviously, the rules in Mexico have changed, but I think I was very lucky to have received my driving license when I was 12.
Now, you took part. Your first drive in a rally was at 14, and you won a championship at 15. I mean, what sort of events were these? Were they small events or were they national events?
No, they were national events, but these were my championship in regularity rallies. You know, there are two different kinds of rallies: regularity rallies and then the speed rallies. So my championship was as a driver with regularity rallies, and that was a national championship. And on those days were like 50 cars.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And as you said, on those days, we were rare to see a woman in motorsport. It wasn't the normal thing. And it was very hard because to become a member of a club, I got denied membership because I was a woman. But, you know, when I won my championship, people realized, like, hang about, she's a champion. She should be part of our club. So, you needed to prove that you were good so you could become a member.
Yeah. So from there, where did it progress? Because, I mean, the one thing you are renowned for is the famous Carrera rally, but, I mean, before you will call drive in the Carrera, you will, shall we say, have to serve something of an apprenticeship. Where did you go from winning your first championship to getting to the stage you were co-driving in one of the world's most famous events?
Well, I think from that championship, when I was doing the championship, the regular championship, at the same time I got invited to do the speed championship with another team as a co-driver. So I was doing the same year, I was doing the championship as a driver in the regularity rallies, and I was doing the championship as a co-driver in the speed rallies, a proper rally.
Yeah.
So, and then I became very experienced as a co-driver. Then from there, we bought the rally car between my brother and I. We teamed for 3 years. We were very successful, and I went into team with another team, and I became Mexican. I am at the moment the only Mexican girl that have achieved a Mexican champion as a co-driver in speed rally. So in 2002, I became champion as a co-driver.
Yeah.
But in between, in 1995, because I was already, I had maybe, 9 years of experience, it was 1992 when I got invited to do my first carrera.
Right.
And yeah, I went, but it was I must say that he was a mad driver, an Argentinian guy, and I ended up leaving him behind because he was crazy. And I thought, I love racing, but you have to be cautious about what you are doing. So he was speeding where he didn't need to speed, and he didn't listen to me. So I said, right. And I think it's when you have to be mature enough. I love the sport. I love this. I'm very passionate, but when you have to be responsible. So I walk out halfway through La Carrera. I said, I'm not going to carry on with you because you're not listening to me. And he got really upset, but I thought, no, that's it. And from there, in 1995, I got invited to team with Jorge Pedrero in Studebaker in Turismo Production, and I stayed with Jorge 9 carreras very successfully. We won the class maybe 4 years.
Yeah.
And then my best result with Jorge was second overall. And then in 2006, I got invited to race Carrera with Gabriel, and we won overall. And it's the only time that a Turismo Production that is not the top class wins La Carrera.
Yeah.
That's one of the top only that year a Turismo Production has won the class.
Yeah.
And from there I went to team with Doug Mulcahy in an Oldsmobile Turismo Major, very successfully as well. In and I did, how many years? 9. So in total, I have done 25 Carreras last year.
Now, before we move on to your other successes, I mean, just talk us through the La Carrera. I mean, from what I can gather, it runs from the south of Mexico to the north of Mexico and takes you through the whole geographical variations and extremes of Mexico. I mean, just talk us through doing a Carrera, because, I mean, it's renowned for being one of the hardest events in the world.
I think it is. It is for the teams. It is physically. You need to prepare yourself very hard because you're talking about 7 days, flat out, full on, all the time. And it's not just that. It's the whole preparation. Normally these cars, I can tell you at the moment, the Studebaker is being prepared for this year Carrera. So it takes months.
Yeah.
And even it's already prepared, but we're having an upgrade in the Studebaker, in the chassis. We're having a new engine, and the engines are very particular, so it takes months of building and putting everything together, and then you go testing. So, and then when you get to, and for example, in my case, and I have done this for years and years and years, I pre-run La Carrera. So before I start La Carrera, I have driven with Gabriel. Nowadays, Gabriel Perez is my driver. With him, I drive 4,000 kilometers.
Right.
If we have new stages, we run the new stages like 3 times, pre-run 3 times the stages to make sure that the base notes we're happy with them. And if they are the same stages, we just run through them and I just check, because I always say the roads get holes and bumps out of nowhere. Every year they change a little bit. So, and then we pre-run the race, then you get ready for the fourth race that is 7 days, but then you have qualification that is the day before. So La Carrera normally starts on a Friday.
Yeah.
And it's in October. And so on Thursday you have qualifying stage. So they seed it according to the result of qualifying. So it makes it safer.
Yeah.
And then normally the start is at you said it, you're right, it's at the south of Mexico City. Normally it's at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the whole event, it's about 3,000, this year it was 3,958 kilometers in total. And it's divided in rally stages. It's just the format of a proper WRC rally stages, where you have your starting time, you have your checking time, your starting time, your control B and your control C. So, and normally we'll have between 5 and 8 stages every day.
Yeah.
The longest stage is about 34 kilometers.
Yeah.
And at every event, we have 2 or 3 stages that are just iconic for La Carrera.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful. It's a wonderful way to know Mexico. And, we drive through the most amazing scenery, and we go through really nice towns. Everybody comes out to wave to us, and it's just, you get a really nice feeling of Mexico. So to be involved in La Carrera, to race La Carrera, for me, is always very special. And I always say to people, because there's a little ghost that is the spirit of La Carrera, and that's and people say, what's that, Angelica? And I say, it's hard to explain until you go and live the experience. Because once you live the experience of racing La Carrera, you want to go back.
Yeah.
And I know European people that have done La Carrera for the first time, they fell in love with La Carrera, sell everything in Europe and go and live in Mexico.
Yeah.
And they go back to La Carrera every year. And it's just, and the camaraderie that exists during La Carrera is just really nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just a wonderful rally, because I would say it's a rally, it's a Carrera, but, the spirit, it's very challenging, it's very fast. It could be very fast. you need to have your car very prepared for, because it's very demanding as well. And sometimes unfortunately we have some rain sometimes.
Yeah.
And it can be very hot. So all these variables, it just make the Carrera tricky, but it's just the challenge, and it's just to get to the finish. It's just that feeling is just amazing.
Now, what age of cars take part in La Carrera? Because it is an historic event.
Yeah, absolutely. So to win La Carrera, to be able to win La Carrera, there are only 5 classes that can win La Carrera. And they have opened La Carrera to historic class, what they call. And so to win La Carrera, you have to race a car that goes from 1950 until 1954.
Yeah.
That was the last time that they run La Carrera back in the 50s.
Right.
And we have five classes: Turismo Mayor, Turismo Production, Sport Mayor, Sport Menor, and Original Panam.
Yeah.
And normally, La Carrera has been won always by a Turismo Mayor. That these are cars that are with an engine. They have an engine over 600 horsepower. I know. So they are cars that are. So you see a car, you see an old car, but they are highly modified underneath.
Yeah.
I can tell you in my particular team, and most of the Studebakers, because most of La Carrera, the 33 editions have been won by Studebakers.
Yeah.
They are like NASCAR, so underneath we have, racing brakes, engines that are just, 650 horsepower. It's just, we have the best technology that exists in the market to go as fast as you can to try and win La Carrera.
So basically the cars that you compete in look old and historic, but are anything but really, because underneath the shell is what you might call a modern racing car. Absolutely,
yeah. And for example, and then that's why people get confused nowadays, because they see Minis and they see Escorts and the Porsches, and these are the historic classes. But even if they have, it's a funny rule. So as I told you, the only ones that can win La Carrera are the ones that are Carrera class, because it's not the same thing to drive a Porsche that is lighter and with all this technology smaller, that weighs 900 kilos or 950, to drive a monster like the Studebaker that weighs 1 ton. It's a minimum weight of 1,500 kilos. So our Studebaker is 1,600 kilos. So it's not the same, to get to these heavy cars, but I just love the Studebaker. It just handles beautiful.
And I conclude with your number of victories in the La Carrera. You'll be something of a national hero in Mexico.
Well, I think because I am the only co-driver that has done so many carreras as a woman, because there's another co-driver that has done, Sergio, I think he has done 28 carreras, but I am the only co-driver that has done 25 carreras in the Carrera class.
Right.
So, yeah, and obviously I have won it. I have been always, fighting for the podium. So I have second, third, fourth, fifth place. So I'm always fighting for the win.
Now, besides La Carrera, you also compete in some of the other of the world's major historic rallies. I mean, just what are the other events you take part in?
I have been very lucky and privileged to have done now 3 Monte Carlo historic rallies, and I have done Pikes Peak 4 times, and Pikes Peak I won the class 2 times. I went and did the Tiger Tasmania as well. We had an accident, but I want to go back and see to do it better, to finish the event.
Yeah.
And I also do another rally in Mexico called Chihuahua Express, that a lot of the Carrera cars or a lot of the teams that take part in Carrera, they go to Chihuahua Express. Normally that's in April.
Yeah.
And that's another really nice event. It's very fast, and Chihuahua is a beautiful state to go and do the rally. And what else? And I did here in the UK, I have done also 7 championships.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm always, looking for an exciting...
Something else to go and do.
Exactly.
Now...
Also, I started, sorry to interrupt you, Mark. I started doing the VSCC driving tests.
Yes.
So that I absolutely love. And I was so ready to go next weekend for the first event, but unfortunately it got cancelled. That was going to happen at Brooklands.
What do you drive in the VSCC events?
Well, I'm very lucky to drive it's a low cut special, a 1928 Peugeot low cut special.
Right. So which will probably seem relatively underpowered compared to the Studebaker you're used to being sat in.
No, absolutely. I love this car. It has a lot of history, and the story of this car was it was owned by my husband, Keith Mainland, bought the project, and the project lied in the garage for years.
Yeah.
And I do the London to Brighton. We have a car that we do the London to Brighton with my husband. So the engineer that looks after the London to Brighton said to my husband, you're never going to build that special. Can I buy it? And if I put it together, you can drive it.
Yeah.
So they did that deal, and then I am the lucky one that I'm driving the car, and I must say I was thrilled last year at the driving test at Brooklands in January. I won my first trophy, my third place in the class. So I was thrilled to achieve that, and so.
I mean, what is the appeal compared, if you look at the La Carrera, to driving VSCC events? What is is it the fact it's just motorsport, or what is the appeal of driving a vintage car?
Well, it's used a completely different modality of motorsport. It's the challenge for me. VSCC is the challenge of people think, you just drive around the cones, and I say, well. First of all, you need to look at the map and transfer the map to the cones that you're seeing on the track, and then go and drive the track, the map faster as you can, with no errors and without hitting any cone.
Yeah.
So it has precision, it has memory, and it has speed. And to be because once you start, you can't see the map. You just have to drive through the how you go through the to remember where you need to brake and which part of the on which side of the cone you need to be and things like that.
Yeah. So
it's just that challenging of remembering, because it's not that easy sometimes. And for example, I love the challenge with the special when you brake, and if it's wet, it just goes sideways. And I don't have brakes at the front; it's just at the back.
Yeah.
So and it's a crash gearbox as well.
Yeah.
Gearbox. So it's completely different, and it's just the challenge to know how to drive this car, because it's different, and where to brake because it's different. The Studebaker, you brake, you stop here.
Yeah.
With a little special, you brake and you just skid and doesn't brake. Doesn't stop. But it's great fun. And people at the VSCC are just lovely, nice people that are so passionate about motorsport as well. And you see so many nice and unique cars.
Yeah. Now, one car you are known for, especially anybody who goes on YouTube, is your Mini Sprint. For those who don't know, what exactly is a Mini Sprint?
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right, because a Mini Sprint is a classic Mini but it's smaller. It's between 5 and 6 inches smaller. But it has 2.5 or 3 inches from the top and 3 inches around the body, shorter. And these cars, our Mini these cars were designed in the 1960s by Neville Trickett.
Yeah.
So our car is one of the Neville Trickett's new, how it go? Yeah, it was done by Neville Trickett. So Keith, my husband, bought the shell, took it to France, and it was caught by Neville Trickett. We brought it back to London, and then it was built here, and we are just happy with Maurice is his name. He has a name, and it's nice to take it out, and people get so intrigued. Some people spot that, yeah, it's different. Others said, oh yeah, I have a Mini like this, and I think it went up. So until you park our Mini to another Mini Classic is what people realize that. Because it doesn't look like I need to make clear, it doesn't look like a hot rod. Because people say, oh, it's a hot rod. No, it's because you can't really see the difference. When you see the Mini, the Mini Sprint, it looks like a classic Mini.
Yeah. So is it a car that you are able, under normal circumstances, is it a car you are able to use a lot?
Yes, absolutely. It's just a car that, you drive around London, but because it's so precious for us, we just took him to special events, and we took it to, to the Mini meetings. We like to take him.
Yeah.
So we went to Ireland to a big Mini meeting years ago, and we have been in France, and then obviously the events that are around London. So.
Now, one question that has to be asked is how come one of Mexico's most famous co-drivers and drivers lives in England?
Well, that's another thing that Carrera gave me. Gave me a husband. in 2000, it was the first time that Richard Clark and Luisa went. The English team, I used to call them the English team, went to do La Carrera. So, and they were looking for when they arrived to Tuxtla Gutiérrez, that year it started from Tuxtla.
Yeah.
So when they arrived in Tuxtla, they were looking for somebody that could explain them the route book. Because the first rule that you have to learn when you go motor racing, avoid penalties.
Yeah.
Because so many riders have been lost because co-drivers have a mistake and you get a penalty and your whole rally is gone.
Yeah.
So they were looking for somebody that could explain the route book, and obviously, and this person Franco Solati said, I think the best person to talk to is Angelica. So we organized a meeting and explained them the route book, and it's when I met Keith. But we didn't start going out until 3 years later. Because
there is the story that you wouldn't dance with him because of his shoes.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and obviously we got married, we went through the wardrobe, and we couldn't find the shoes. So, yeah, it's a funny story. But I didn't tell my husband until we got married. He didn't know the story until we got married. About the shoes. So if anybody wants to hear the story, they can log on the video and hear the story.
So with all your motor racing and the fact that you co-drive for other drivers, do you get to see much of your husband, or is he used to the fact that his wife is probably in another part of the world taking part and probably winning one of the some of the world's most famous events?
Yeah, I'm very lucky. Well, he came 10 years to La Carrera, and nowadays he doesn't go to La Carrera, but he's so supportive for me to go and do all these rallies. And, nowadays when I go to Mexico, La Carrera for me means that I will be away for a month.
Yeah.
By the time I prepare myself, I do my Reiki and La Carrera, it just takes about 20 days.
Yeah.
So, no, I think I am very privileged to have married kids, and he's so supportive. I have to say this. When we married and I came back to live. Well, I came to London to live. He said, the only time I have seen you so happy is when you are in a rally car.
Yeah.
Maybe the day of our wedding, but your smile when you're in a rally car, you just live and enjoy what you do. So we need to find you a seat in the UK.
Yeah.
And we need to carry on with this because it's your passion. So I feel so lucky that, and he has been very supportive, and he's happy for me. For example, if the invitation comes along to go and do, that's the other thing that I have been very lucky to do as well. I did the Modena Centauro, and hopefully I will go back this year to do Modena Centauro in Italy.
Yeah.
So he's very supportive, and you're right. I disappeared for a month or maybe another 10 days. It all depends how busy the year is in motorsport for me, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you go back to Mexico, you will be going home, really, won't you, on La Carrera? Besides an event you enjoy doing, you will be going back home. Is your husband able to accompany you, or does he just send you on your way now?
Well, no, he sent me on my way. Nowadays he doesn't come, and he's happy for me to go. And obviously, I go and stay with my mom and dad, and it's part of the ritual. I see a lot of my family, a lot of my friends, and then I do La Carrera, and then he stays at home, and then I come back. Yeah.
Now, the one thing I notice is, as I said, a lot of people won't really know La Carrera. If somebody wants to follow it, I mean, it will get exposure in Mexico. What's probably the best way for anybody to actually watch La Carrera? I conclude it'll be on YouTube and things like that, but how do people see you in action?
Yeah, well, actually, nowadays, they can follow me on my Facebook. It's Angelica Fuentes Garcia, or we have a page on Facebook as well, Museo del Automóvil Racing Team, or there's the official website for La Carrera Panamericana, www.lacarrerapanamericana.com.mx. And this year was amazing because of the pandemic. They went live, and every day they had about 7 hours live. So people were able, wherever they were in the world, to follow La Carrera live. And they could see some interviews at the beginning. They could see some stages. They could see the end of the day. So it was just really nice because people could follow La Carrera very closely this year.
Yeah. With all that you do, what events have you not done that you would like to do?
Oh, I have a good question. I have a lot of events, but one that I just have been following and just finished last week, or something like that, is the Paris-Dakar.
Oh, right.
Dakar Rally. That will be one of my events that I thought, that would be a really nice next challenge to go and try and do. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but I will work on the idea and see if it's possible, because that will be. I would love to go back to Pikes Peak as well, but unfortunately, it's either I do it as a driver, because co-drivers nowadays are banned, so you can't co-drive anymore. So it can be another challenge to do a little bit of driving up to Pikes Peak. That would be nice.
And I mean, when you talk like the Carrera, the Paris-Dakar, anything like that, what is the appeal of the big endurance events? Because, I mean, you can do smaller events that last a day or 2 days or a weekend or whatever. The one passion that comes through is your passion for the long-distance endurance. What is it about these events that you like?
I think it's just the adrenaline. It's just this adrenaline that you go into every day, and it's just like that it's just like one day and the next day, and the adrenaline is just there, and it's just the challenge of the event, because they are not easy events. And and it's just to be there and be part of it. and that can go for, you can enjoy your passion for 7 days. I think it's just really nice. Instead of saying, oh, I do this rally today and then wait another 3 weeks and do another rally. I love to do events that they are one day. I'm happy to do rallies like that. But, the long rallies, I think it's just this, that you run the adrenaline for 7 days and you are doing what you love in life the most, or one of the things you love in life, the most.
Because the other thing is, it's like the Carrera, and I myself have done the Tour Autos. It's like you said, you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You've all sorts of things to do. You may get to bed at 7 o'clock at night if you're lucky, or you'll finish at 7 o'clock at night. You'll have to have something to eat. They are exceedingly tiring. They are incredibly long days and exceedingly tiring. How do you prepare for all this?
Yes, Andrew, you're absolutely right. I never go to bed at 7 o'clock. I think at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, we're sitting down to have our not first meal, but a proper meal. I prepare physically. I have a very special diet nowadays, all year round. And for example, now in lockdown that I'm not able to go to the gym, I have my workout every day, either here in the kitchen floor, if the weather is nice, like today, this morning, I was doing my exercise here. We have our patio, so I just put my music and I just start doing my workout.
Yeah.
And just to keep fit and to keep as strong as I can.
So it's proof positive that even at the highest levels of motorsport, behind the scenes, it isn't as glamorous as you might think it is at times.
Absolutely. It's just the other day I was talking to somebody because people think, oh, you just stand up and smile. I say, I wish. But, it's all this preparation and all this, you need to prepare yourself physically, mentally, and also you need to start working. For example, I'm very close to Luis, the guy that is in charge of the design of the car, and he start working on. So it's all these parts and Gabriel obviously is in charge of the Studebaker, but it's all this work that you put through the year to get to La Carrera.
Yeah.
Or to get to the event, and also a lot of sacrifice. It's not a sacrifice, but it's just a lot of time invested in this event.
Yeah.
That obviously you love, and you don't think, oh, it's a sacrifice, but it's just a lot of work and discipline. Discipline is so important.
Now, if somebody wants to get involved in La Carrera or any of this type of big event, what would you say is the best advice you can give them to how to go about getting into this form of motorsport?
Well, I will invite them first to learn about the event, to approach people that know the event. For example, I'm very grateful that some people make contact and they are very keen for me. And I always say to people, don't be afraid to ask. The more you ask, the more you learn. It's the less opportunity. Well, you will less opportunity to have a mistake. And there are so many nice people to be so keen to help you, to take you through La Carrera, to speak about La Carrera, and approach that people. Follow some videos, follow some people that have done the event, get in contact with the organizers, and learn from the event. And most of the people that do La Carrera are really friendly, and I will be very keen to talk to anybody to help you to learn the system that is not complicated. The time card, the route book. People are very, very happy to help people to welcome all the incomers. Everybody welcomes new people to La Carrera. So that would be my advice. Never be afraid to ask. Approach people that have done La Carrera, approach the organizers, and always ask. Any question you have, don't be afraid to ask.
And are there any organisations you would suggest that they join or anything like that? I mean, there's clubs and various other things. Is there anything? I mean, you love the VSCC, as do a lot of people in England. It's a serious-sized club. Are there any clubs you would suggest they join?
Well, there is on Facebook as well, La Carrera Panamericana has the page. But there are some clubs in Mexico that some of the members, they run also services for La Carrera. So you can approach. They are not a club that are just particular in charge of La Carrera. There are teams that you can approach that they take 2 or 3 cars, and some teams are based in Mexico, some teams are based in America, and all of them they would be very keen to help you and to give you information about the race.
Angelica Fuentes Garcia, it's been an absolute delight chatting to you. Thanks very much for taking the time to join me on the Backseat Driver Radio Show. And as I said, you are the most spectacular name I have ever had the pleasure of interviewing. Angelica, thank you very much indeed for joining me on the Backseat Driver Radio Show.
Thank you, Mark. It has been a privilege to be on your program, and well, wish you good luck, and to everybody, and whoever wants to talk about La Carrera, they can contact me as well if they wish, and everybody stay safe.
Thank you very much indeed, Angelica.
The Backseat Driver Podcast is brought to you in association with Tim Nash and the Lombard Rally Festival, the UK's premier classic rally demonstrations. From the awesome Group B cars to cars from the golden era of rallying, go to the Lombard Rally Bath social media for dates and venues. Rarely beaten on price, never beaten on service. Whether it's cars, bikes or commercials, Hodder Tyres are the best in the business. And when it comes to tyre expertise and advice to supplying the correct tyres for your vehicle's specific requirements, nobody comes close to David Lakin and the Hodder Tyres team. So give them a call on 01200 613 192 or visit the website at hoddertyres.co.uk.